Hello folks, Bronco Bob here with Texas Best Used Motorcycles. I'm here today to show you a 1972 Ford Bronco. This Bronco belonged to a guy that had a pretty big car collection. And he, over the years, sold the car collection off, but he kind of hung on to this Bronco. And now he's no longer with us. And it looks like he had this Bronco built with some of the best parts available, but he never used it. There's no marks underneath where it's been off-road, no scrapes, no scratches. It doesn't have a rear view mirror or side mirrors. I think he had it built, put it in his collection, and it just kind of sat there. But it's an amazing truck. It's got a lot of cool modifications. To begin with, underneath you'll notice you've got 8 lug axles, and these Broncos came with 4 9-inch rear ends with 5 on 5.5 bolt pattern. Well, this one's been modified to a coil rear suspension and a really beefy housing. It's a square tubing like you'd see on a Rockwell, but it's a 4-link suspension, stainless steel brakes, brake lines, disc brakes, giant Heim joints, and basically they took this apart and did a full build on it. I don't know what gears are in it, but the tires are pit bull rockers. They're 37s. They're real tough tires. They do ride pretty rough. It's got a really nice bumper on the back, the gas can holder, a place to put your Yeti, nice swing out spare tire carrier. And I want to look at that rear end one more time from the back. It's a nodular third member, which they use in racing. And then it's got this big truss welded on the back and a skid plate for the large capacity fuel tank. All good stuff. The paint is, I've seen a lot of Jeeps and Broncos and they've had good paint jobs. This paint is actually show quality. There's no orange peel, there's no ripples, there's no chips, there's no dings. Pretty amazing. The seats are high back Corbeau racing seats with the harness seat belts. It's got a really cool shifter. It's automatic. Twin stick for the transfer case. Digital instrument cluster, only showing 400 miles. That may be the only miles that's been driven since all the work was done. I'm not sure who built this cage, but it looks like a Bailey built, where they do the full cell where the seats bolt to the cage. Just a lot safer, kind of a family cage. The rear seats have a few spots in them in the cloth material. And I'm told there's a hardtop, and you can see marks where a hardtop's been on it. But we haven't received the hardtop, so we're not going to promise it. But if you want to buy it, we'll follow up on it. It does have a really nice pre-runner bumper. It's got one of those Warren power plant winches, which has built-in air compressor. Pretty neat little deal. Kind of old school HID projection spotlights. But I'm going to finish up underneath the front here. The front is a high pinion 9-inch with a truss just like the rear. It's got these giant knuckles. And I've noticed driving it over here, there's a leak, and I believe it's probably an axle seal. And that's something we can talk about. But it is leaking, and I do want to point it out. This front differential is a high pinion. They call it a high 9. It's a nodular third member, which they use the nodular iron housings in a lot of the race cars. All custom suspension, gigantic 1-ton brakes. This has hydro boost, and man, when you touch the brakes, it will stop. They work pretty amazingly well. The floorboards are in good shape, and I see some seam sealer. So I'm going to say when they restored it, they put some floor pans in both sides. Under the hood, I don't know what size it is. I was told it was a 351 Windsor block. stroke to a 392, but we don't have a build sheet on the motor. But I've driven some 392s and I've driven some 351s. This thing has got a lot of torque. It's fuel injected, ceramic coated headers, MSD off-road ignition. There's your hydro boost brakes. Looks like this is a big fuel filter right there on the top. But you can see the workmanship here. It's really, really nice. This radiator and beautiful aluminum shroud. I bet that's a $1,500 radiator. Aluminum heads. I wish I had a build sheet for you, but I don't. But it does look like they didn't cut any corners. When you look at the components, it's got the mean green alternator, Optima battery, nice, probably a transmission cooler. I've seen people do power steering coolers like that. Pretty sure it's a tranny cooler. Ford Racing valve covers. It's got all this low car stainless steel lines for dipstick for your transmission. Just all high quality stuff. I'm going to start it up and let you hear it run. Sorry this video is kind of taking a long time. Really listening to the motor kind of tells the tale. I didn't turn the fuel pump on. But this paint is beautiful. You can kind of hear what it sounds like. But I can tell you when you push the throttle, it will jump. Beautiful sound. I'm going to say this Bronco needs to be sorted. I think it was built and it was parked in a collection. Like this glove box door needs to be lined up, which is pretty simple to do, so that it moves down here and it closes that gap up. There's your instrumentation. Sorry this video is kind of long, but it's a lot to talk about. What you got here is a really good Bronco built with a lot of high-end components. Just needs a few little trim items like some mirrors. It just needs to be sorted out. The pit bull tires look mean and aggressive, but they're really rough when you're driving them on the road. But I thank you for looking. I thank you for your time. Check out all the pictures and you get a good idea of what this Bronco is. Hope you have a great day. This is Bronco Bob wishing you happy trails.